Okay, so your first thought might be, why are you wearing a bikini top? Because today I'm going to talk about my role in the Disney College program, which is going to be lifeguarding. But no, as someone asked me the other day, I am not allowed to wear my new Wonder Woman bikini top as a lifeguard at Disney World. I just thought it would be fun. Okay, so whenever I first got my acceptance email, it said, click through and you'll be able to see what your role is. So after I came back upstairs from telling my family about it, and I could actually get my computer to work for once, I clicked through and it said, congratulations, we are pleased to let you know that you've been selected to participate as a lifeguard cast member. So I was like, cool. Responsibilities may include working in a water park or resort environment, monitoring guest safety in water and on slides attractions, physically challenging work, and prolonged exposure to outside elements. Providing first aid and basic life support in the event of a guest injury or illness, utilizing strong swimming skills, keeping recreational areas clean, providing guest information, standing for extended periods, and working outdoors. During off-peak seasons, lifeguards may assist other operating areas throughout the Walt Disney World Resort, including performing roles other than lifeguarding. Each individual must be evaluated and certified at the Walt Disney World Resort. All lifeguards must pass a swim test and a vision screening that requires 20/20 vision with or without corrective lenses. Someone asked me about that and they said, does that mean that you have to be able to do it without your glasses? I'm like, no, it just means if you don't wear glasses, you don't have to wear them. So I will be wearing my contacts whenever I go down there because I'm not jumping in the pool in glasses. All lifeguards must pass a swim test and... Oh, okay. Our swim test requires you to swim 200 yards, it's 183 meters, for the rest of the world, but not us in America. Freestyle or breaststroke, retrieve a 10-pound or 4.5 kilogram brick from the deepest section of the pool, minimum of 8 feet or 2.4 meters, and tread water with hands out of the water for 2 minutes. In the event you do not pass the swim test described, you will be placed in another role based on availability. So, that's the official thing from Disney. Right now, on the Disney career website, you can actually apply to be a part-time lifeguard or a full-time lifeguard just in their regular career, section for jobs. I'm not talking about college program, but you can also see information on there. For instance, it mentions how shallow, this is not college program, this is on their regular thing, is $8.65. Ours is $7.93 because that is the minimum wage in Florida right now. And deep water is $9.75. But I did hear, internet-wise, that if you get deep water on the college program, you do get paid a little more money. So I also read that it's basically a crapshoot because it seems like they've decided before you go in there who they're going to test, like randomly decided for no reason. Because I read one person who'd been like a lifeguard for real for like 5 years in the real world, and they were very upset because they were tested on shallow only and not deep water. And the test that was described there, that is the deep water test. Only the ones that they're thinking of doing for deep water, which I read is for the parks, do that. And it said that if you're doing shallow water, it'll be 50 instead of 200 meters. And it said 200 meters is 8 lengths of the pool. Okay. Now, whenever you think of Disney and you think of working there, I know I myself do not think of lifeguards. I went to Disney twice whenever I was younger, and the last time was in 2001. We didn't stay on Disney property that time, but the time before that we went, it was like 97 or 98. We did stay at, I believe it was All-Star Music Resort. And I'm not even sure. I think we got in the pool one time. And I don't even know if they had lifeguards back then, or I just didn't pay attention to it because I know we were so busy doing other stuff. I wasn't even aware that there were water parks back then. I don't know, like, when they opened or whatever. They might have been open for a very long time, and I just didn't know about it. But this is why they need lifeguards. There are 5 beaches, 10 marinas, over 50 resorts, and 2 water parks. Now, the 2 water parks are called Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach, and both of them have wave pools. I read that they close. I'll be down there from September to January, so you might think, oh, that's like winter, fall, and winter time. What are you going to be doing as a lifeguard? Well, I read that as long as it's 50 degrees or above, that the water parks are open, and that they switch, like, if it's not that busy, they only have one park instead of the other, and they sort of go back and forth. And they have, like, a calendar for stuff like that. But if you hear noise in the background, it's my pugs fighting each other. They're just kidding around. So, there is also a shark reef in Typhoon Lagoon, which I think is really cool, because I read that sometimes people in the college program get to work around that, and I think it would be really fun. But anyways, there's a lot of information. Like, there's not as much information out there about the lifeguarding role as the other ones, just because, I don't know, it's not like the most popular, it's not like a character role where everybody's trying to get it, and it's not the most populated. Like, it's not quick service food and beverage. So, but I have found like quite a few really good blogs written by people, and one YouTube channel that was really good. Sorry people, but I only saw one that was really good. The girl wears her outfit, she demonstrates and everything. I will put a link to it. So some of the things you'll be doing if you're lifeguarding is, obviously you'll be, looking out for the safety of the guests. You'll be cleaning, cleaning the whole area, moving the chairs around and stuff, answering questions. You could also be put, it's like on a marina, so you'll do boat rentals if you get put there. You could also be put as a pool attendant, slide operations, or marina operations, like I said. Enforce rules. I've read people online say that they like it because it's the only Disney role where you're allowed to yell, I guess. Obviously, you can't really yell, but you know what I mean? Like, no running! So, sorry, it would be like, no running, because there's a Disney point. I don't know. I haven't been there yet. But, the other roles, jobs that are in the Disney program, you have to wear, it's considered a costume, and you have to take it back to costuming, and they're supposed to clean it because, they're like fancy and everything. For the lifeguard, I read that it's the only, I believe, the only role that you have where you take care of your own stuff because it's not technically a costume. What it consists of is a lifeguard polo, a white polo shirt, and it has like a Mickey logo, but, with like a raft for lifeguards. Over a red swimsuit with red shorts over top of it. And someone asked on one of the blogs, can you just wear the swimsuit? And they said if you're working at the water parks, sometimes people do that. But if you're working in the resorts, you would be wearing the whole outfit. You can also wear a red hat, and you need to wear a whistle, and a fanny pack, which I haven't worn since I was like 10 or 11. My mom made me wear one, which probably was to Disney World or Busch Gardens or something. You also have to bring shoes. I've read a lot of people, you have to get your own shoes for this role. I read that most people either get white sneakers or black Crocs, because those are the only colors you're supposed to get. I saw on the really good YouTube channel I was talking about, she said she bought cheap Crocs from like Walgreens or something. So I happened to see that they were on sale, and they had them at Five Below. So I went to Five Below and got a men's pair of black Crocs. So I believe men's shoes, they're 2 or 3 times smaller than your actual size. I wear 8.5, so I think it's like 5 or 6.5. So I already have my shoes. Even though I don't have to have them yet, I do. You're supposed to wear black sunglasses, but people are supposed to be able to see your face through the lenses, and I haven't picked up any sunglasses like that because I'm pretty sure I'll get the wrong thing, so I'm just going to wait on that for sure. Whenever you get there, you have to have a vision test and a drug test. Not all roles have to have a drug test. I've read it's lifeguarding and attractions, because attractions, people could get hurt. And the same thing with lifeguarding. Just make sure you're hydrated and everything. And obviously don't do drugs, kids. But I read that happens on the first day. The general thing for Disney is that the first day they do check-in, take your photo, you have to be in Disney look, you can't have a sleeveless shirt. They do a background check, the drug test if you're having one of these roles, and the swim test if you're having one of these roles. So I've read for a lot of people when they come in on check-in day and they do all this stuff and they stand in a big line and get their housing assignments and everything, and they're like, oh, I was so tired and I had to go back to my room, and, I did unpack or I didn't. And I've read lifeguards say, I was so tired, and then at 6 o'clock I had to go to Mickey's Retreat and do a swim test. So that's what it says, is that evening you usually do your swim test. This is from the official Disney site. Day 2, they usually do housing. Day 3 or 4, traditions. Day 4, 5, or 6, and 6, training. I've read lots of different stuff because there's blogs out there from 2011 up until now about different experiences people have had. You're also going to have to go to traditions, which everybody in the program has to do. And it looks like that happens on the 2nd day. There's 3 or 4. It says, I think it says 3 days on the Disney documentation I have somewhere. But on some of the websites I read 3 days and some I read 4. Because some people said you got trained for 3 days and took the test on the 4th day. And some people sounded like they trained for 2 days and took the test on the 3rd day. I was worried that I wouldn't have a lot of hours, and it does say you can get cross-trained if there's not enough hours, because you have to work at least 30 hours. You have to be able to pay your housing and stuff. Well, I did ask on the Lifeguard Facebook group if anyone knew about getting cross-trained, and only like one person said anything, and they were like, no. Like, they're not going to do that, especially for us, because we're not there very long. And I'm thinking, well, they kind of, like, say it right in the, you know, information they give you, your new hire information, or whatever you want to call it. So I think that's a possibility, but I read a lot of things where people are down there in the fall, and they worked a lot of hours, like 50 hours a week. So that probably isn't a problem getting at least 30 hours. And I read that you can pick up what are called untrained shifts, which are pack shifts, which is parade control. And I think that you can pick up like tickets, where you take people's tickets, or a park reader, or something like that. Don't quote me on that. It says common hours for working in the pool at the resorts is 8 to 4:30 5 times a week, and the parks is 8 to 6 o'clock 4 times a week. And again, this is on someone's blog, and that's just what they're coming up with. That's not everybody or whatever. Some people said it was common for them to work 9:30 to 6 or 2 to 10:30. I guess that's a resort. Oh, I also read that resorts play movies at the end of the night, so if you're working the night shift, you have to like pull down a giant movie screen and they'll train you and all that stuff. I read 2 different things about knowing whenever you know where you're going to work. Obviously, I don't know yet because I'm not there. It said on one of the things that after you take the swim test, they give you a schedule, and on the schedule it has the name of the parks or resorts where you're going to work. I read another thing that said during traditions or whatever, you get a handbook, and on there it says the location of where you're going to work. So either way, you're going to find out fast. There's supposed to be like a really shocking video that they show you, I guess, of someone drowning probably on the first day of training, and someone said it's like to weed out people who can't like take the pressure or something. They do a thing there called VATS, which is Vigilance Awareness Tests, where they throw in these black silhouettes that looks like a person, and you have to jump in and get it. And they can do this the whole time that you're working there. Well, they do this to people to see if you're actually paying attention, because you're supposed to do these things called rotations and walk around the pool. You'll be trained in CPR, AED, and first aid. I was trained in all those things last year at the Red Cross, but you still have to get trained down there, and I'm not lifeguard trained. And it's pretty cool that they do the lifeguard training. You know, they're paying for it. It's through this company called Ellis. I know that if I went over to do lifeguard training at the YMCA this summer, it costs either $250 or $300. So, on the test, they have an actual written test where they give you a study guide to study for it. And people said they review it with 60 multiple choice questions, and then you do actual tests for CPR, and you do a group test that could be drowning, somebody unconscious, spinal injury, different things like that. Then it says, I've read that people had 3 days on-site training of whichever place they're going to be working at. Some people said that then they went to other places and got trained. I read this one person's blog where they actually started Disney on the 5th of September, and they didn't start their first day of full work until the 20th day of September. So there was a lot of different training involved, and it didn't even sound like they had very many days off in the thing of there. So I think there's a lot of training on Lifeguard, which is really good. Oh, and I also read that everybody else wears a name tag, that under their name tag they wear a thing that says earning your ears. And people said if you're a lifeguard, they automatically tell you to rip that right off, because nobody wants to see a lifeguard in training, okay? Because they don't want to be like, oh my god, yeah. I do think that it sounds to me like they're really good. I don't know if anybody's watched Escape from Tomorrow, that movie that was like covertly shot in Disneyland, or Disney World, excuse me. But I watched it like a week ago. And the guy was just in one of the resorts, and he was just pretending to drown. You know, like when you lay like this, face down, and you're just like chilling? Well, he was just doing that, and
obviously nobody knew they were filming this. 2 of the lifeguards, real Disney lifeguards, jumped in and pulled him out, and he's like, I'm not really drowning. It was like one of the better parts of the movie. Because I was like, that's a lifeguard, like I'm going to be. Okay, they call it deployment or deployed whenever you're sent from one place to another. For some reason, it's like being in the army, so they call it that. I don't know. I guess I'm just really excited. Excuse my laughing and whatever. It says you'll usually be doing 30-minute rotations, scanning, cleaning, and all that kind of stuff while you're there. And the rotations are when they say you walk around the pool. Whenever you take the swim test at Disney, I also read you take 2 swim tests. One that first evening when you get there, and another one the day before they train you, just to see if you can swim. I took a bunch of swimming courses when I was a child, so I'm a good swimmer. And then I took swimming for all my PE classes in high school because I would prefer that than group activities with a bunch of jerks. So, you have to wear a one-piece. You cannot wear a Wonder Woman bikini for your training. I could take this down there just like to chill outside and get a tan or whatever. Go swimming, you know, when I'm not working. Somebody else got very specific and said it has to be an athletic one-piece, but I don't think that that's really true, because someone else said if you're wearing a two-piece, they'll just let you throw a t-shirt over it. They just want you to be like modest because it's Disney and it's Mickey's Retreat. And the Mickey's Retreat place I read is for cast members, people who work at Disney, and you can take your family there, and they have like grills, and it's a recreation place. So, and someone else recommended bringing goggles. And I do happen to have an athletic one piece that I finally got last year because I was sick of, like, you know, your chest comes out when you go swimming or whatever. But I'm not sure if I mentioned, I think I did, that the resort pools are heated if it's cold outside. So I've read lifeguards saying that people will still be in there even if it's cold because they have that. And it makes sense to me. But I'm really excited. Oh, it's also part of the recreation family. So there's supposed to be, I haven't read this on every blog, but there's a core recreational class that they give for people. This person said it lasted 8 to 5, but they had a 1-hour lunch and some breaks. And other people who were in this group were people who worked in the arcades and who worked in children's activities. That's also something I would like to do if I ever do the program again. Or people who worked in campfire, archery, boating. They also have presentations. Those are part of the training that you sit through, and e-learnings, which they said is when you sit down with your headphones and watch the stuff yourself on like a computer, which I've done that at a previous job, so I know what that entails. But basically, it seems like pretty straightforward. I just like to know everything I could possibly know. So that's what I know about the Lifeguard program going into it, having never done it before. I'm going to put links down below, and then I'll put many more links on my blog post, and I'll put a link to that. Okay, till the next time.